The spoilers for chapter 12 of Boruto Vortex is finally here, guys, and let's just say that this chapter is absolutely insane. First, we have the return of Rasengan Uzuhiko, which Boruto uses to destroy most of Hidari's body, then Kawaki swoops in to finish him off. And we also have Boruto getting sniped by Jura thousands of miles away, and it's not looking good for Boruto, guys. So we have a lot to discuss, but of course we're gonna start from the top. So the person on the cover for chapter 12 is Sumire, which is funny since she does absolutely nothing in the chapters. I don't know why she's there, but apparently she does something in the next chapter, which is pretty much the case when it comes to Boruto color pages. But yeah, she is on the cover, and the title for the chapter is Thorn Spirit, which is in reference to what happened to Hidari. So yeah, let's get into the chapter. So it says here that Boruto arrives and then asks Konohamaru to take care of Himawari. So as you guys know, Boruto saved both Himawari and Sarada in chapter 11. So he's now standing before Hidari. So that is what this is referring to. Now I'm not going to show these spoiler pages, I'm not going to show most of them because as you guys know, we're going to avoid getting copyright strikes here, so I'm going to show some but not all, okay? Now it then says that Hidari attacked Boruto by turning his hand into a scythe. Boruto blocked it with his sword and used his new move, Futon Tapa, which translates to wind element breakthrough. So this actually confirms that the ability we saw in the sneak peek wasn't Gale Palm, it's actually wind style breakthrough. So I'm going to do a separate video on the ability itself, or maybe I'll just reference it in the actual chapter review, so we're not going to go into that in this video. But yeah, Boruto is able to push away Hidari using this ability, and Hidari then vanishes into the claw mark. It then says that in the sky, Kawaki is floating and commented that Boruto vanished using some time-space jutsu or space-time ninjutsu. So Kawaki has finally arrived to Jura's location. It then says that while watching Jura from above, Delta asked the sensory team for Himawari's whereabouts. The sensory team informed her about the condition. Team 10 is heavily injured and went to the new town area, which means they went to the hospital as indicated in the prior chapter. They also confirmed that Himawari is with Sarada, Konohamaru, and Boruto. Delta then passed that information to Kawaki and asked what will he do. Kawaki is curious why Jura is just standing there doing nothing. So I actually have the panel showing this, and I might put it up so you guys can see it. And I find this very funny because based on what happened later on in the chapter, Kawaki ran from Jura. Now you can defend this saying that, you know, maybe Kawaki was just prioritizing Himawari. Since Himawari isn't there, why would he find Jura? But based on this panel, he's apprehensive about approaching Jura because of what happened prior, because he knows Jura is stronger than him. I don't want people shitting on Kawaki for this because this is a smart decision because he knows that Jura is stronger than he is. So there's no reason to actually fight him, especially if he doesn't have Himawari. So yeah, hold off on the criticism. We have to give Kawaki a pass this time, okay? Alright, so now we're back in the village. Konohamaru then asks Boruto what is he trying to do. He's hated in the village, and does he know his current situation? Sarada then stepped in and assured him that without Boruto's help, she's probably done for. And Konohamaru, of course, being very smart and mature unlike some other individuals, promptly understood the situation, then proceeds to warn Boruto that the enemy can control the claw mark freely, which Boruto is already aware of course. Boruto ordered the sensory team near him to focus on the claw mark near the area, and not miss any chakra movement. Of course, Nishi is kinda upset because, you know, Boruto is actually the guy noted for killing the Okage, so he's like, yo bro, like why you ordering me around, like you're a criminal, right? Sumire then stepped in telling Boruto that Hidari is after Sarada, because Hidari kept focusing on her even with Konohamaru in close range to him. Sarada added that the enemy is trying to devour her. She noticed that with every jutsu Hidari had, he's probably related to her dad that turned into a tree. Now you guys, I've actually seen a different translation for this, and it means the exact same thing that she's saying, but it's a bit more properly constructed. So this obviously isn't how the characters are actually speaking in the chapters, so I just wanted to reinforce that, although you guys probably know that already, you know? But yeah, Konohamaru then caught on to what Sarada said about Sasuke being a tree, and then asked if that's related to what happened to Moegi because she's also a tree. Boruto then proceeds to say that those beings are born from Sasuke's chakra, but they don't need to hold back against them and only focus on how to defeat them. After all, that's the only way to save Sasuke. Now I just want to clarify that this does say that those beings and they, which references more than one. So you guys are probably thinking that every one of these Shinju entities are constructed using Sasuke's chakra, but I did see a different translation which only references Hidari. So I just want you guys to take that with a grain of salt, but if you're gonna lean towards either of these translations, just know that the Hidari one is more plausible and not that Sasuke created all of them. But yeah, Konohamaru is a bit confused about this, so he's kind of questioning Boruto, but Boruto stops it and says that he needs to focus on the actual battle before them. The sensory team then informs them that there's chakra movement in the claw mark. Boruto then asks where's the direction, but he doesn't know, and suddenly the claw grimes appeared from the mark near them. So yeah, the claw grimes are still about. They weren't all turned into the Shinju, which was somewhat theorized before, and we did see one in chapter 8, but this confirms that they still have a lot of them tucked away somewhere, probably in the Ten Tails dimension. Now it then says here that Boruto told Sarada to open attack against Hidari, while he'll try to reduce the enemy's numbers. So it's basically telling Sarada that she needs to focus on Hidari, to look out for him popping from the claw marks, and he'll focus on the claw grimes. And for some strange reason, Sarada doesn't activate her Sharingan. Now I think this needs to be addressed at some point, why Sarada isn't doing this. Like, she's mid-battle, claw grimes are popping up from everywhere. They need to be looking out for Hidari popping up suddenly from the claw marks. I'm sure the Sharingan, which enhances vision, would be a great asset in this particular scenario. And I'm not saying that she needs to use the Mangekyo, just at least the base Sharingan, but for some reason she doesn't activate it. And this actually aids in what happens next. So yeah, Konohamaru then tells Sumire to stay away from Boruto and Sarada because, you know, she can't really fight. And then Boruto and Sarada attack the claw grime. Suddenly Hidari appears from the claw mark near the claw grime's belly and grabs Sarada. Boruto then hits the back of that claw grime with a shuriken and teleported above them. He then proceeds to hit Hidari above the shoulder from above him using a regular Rasengan, and then Hidari teleported into the claw mark and returned to his base. So the base would be that Ten Tails dimension that had the black box that we saw in the prior chapters. Now, I want to say that this of course is a callback to, you know, Minato doing the same thing to Obito in a sense. So this is a great callback. And of course, the fans are gonna have a fun time with this. But critically speaking here, why isn't Sarada using her Sharingan? Even in this scenario, if she had the Sharingan active, she would have seen Hidari's hand appearing from the mark before he did, or at least she would have been able to see his hand before he fully grabbed onto her leg, because the Sharingan does have some predictive capability based on the muscle fiber movements. So I find it very interesting that she's not using the Sharingan in this scenario when she's already aware of the power of Hidari. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's something wrong that hasn't been noted yet in the time skip, and I'm hoping that that's the case, because aside from that, the only explanation would be that Ikimoto just doesn't want to draw it, and I'm not sure why. And I know the argument about conserving like stamina and all that stuff, but you conserve stamina for this scenario. This is the scenario where you use it. You don't conserve stamina to not use in battle. You conserve it to use in battle, and this is the battle, you know. So I just find it weird, but hopefully we get some explanation, but I guess we'll just see what happens. Now it then says that the wound Hidari got from Boruto is recovered by the tree, and he appears again and made more claw marks around Boruto and Sarada. Now I do have an image of this, and it shows the tree, and it seems to be pulling from the Ten Tails. Now I'm not sure where exactly this is, but it seems that they're in some area that is surrounded by roots, and I'm thinking this is below the Ten Tails, but of course we'll see what happens, but it's just a prediction. But yeah, the roots then attach to Hidari and then basically heals him. It also recovers the black clothing as well, which I find interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much what happens there. Now Sarada then suggests that Boruto fly so he can lure Hidari out of the land so he can hit him with the Rasengan. Boruto said that he won't fly away because he'll finish Hidari using Uzuhiko. It then says that Boruto pretty much explains how Uzuhiko works and tells her that it's a new Rasengan using planetary chakra. Sarada then asks Boruto if Hidari can be beaten with that and won't escape again into the claw mark. Boruto then assures her that with Rasengan Uzuhiko, he can probably finish him with one swoop, and that move doesn't have any power limitations, which is interesting. That's interesting, very. But he then says, but to do that he needs time to gather planetary chakra, so he must be on the land to gather it directly, which means that he needs time and can't fly. So pretty much Rasengan Uzuhiko has limitless power. So it's not, I think what Boruto means is that it's not limited to his power since he's taking power from the planet itself, which I find very interesting. So the planet itself has limitless power, which does make sense in a sense. So yeah, Boruto's Rasengan Uzuhiko is actually quite insane, and he needs to be on the ground to generate it, which I guess that explains the wind funnel around his body and stuff. So this actually plays into what happened with Kobe. We're gonna get to that later on when he actually uses it. It then says that a hand appears from the mark behind Boruto. Konohamaru jumps and attack it with his Rasengan Shoiki, which is the Rasengan wind barrier thing he used in the prior chapter. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now it does say that he just blocked Hidari here, but in the actual panel it shows that Hidari used some type of lightning ability. So once again he was able to block Hidari's lightning style ability. So Hidari is not looking so good, bro. I'm just saying. Now it could be that he's just like weakened, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, let's move on. Now Boruto seems to be a bit upset by this because he's asking Konohamaru why he came to save him and not watch over Himawari, because that's what he told him to do. Konohamaru then replied that he himself will choose which is the priority, and if Boruto wants to complain, he should have used the time to complete his Uzuhiko. Now Hidari then appears again from the mark behind Sarada and grabs her once again, and Sarada doesn't have her Sharingan activated, which again enhances perception. So she was grabbed before when she didn't have it active, and she still didn't activate it afterwards. So again, this is really weird. I don't know, but of course we're not going to spend too much time on that. It then says that Sarada activated her Shidori Nagashi, which is Shidori Floor, Shidori Stream, which proceeds to shock him, of course, because that's what the ability does. She then pulls him from the mark and throws him towards Boruto. She then proceeds to ask him if the preparation for Rasengan Uzuhiko is complete. Boruto replied saying that it's not completely over as yet, but he can't miss the timing, so this isn't a full power Rasengan Uzuhiko. So Boruto then hit Hidari using Uzuhiko, and the damage is so big that only Hidari's head and left hand remains. And suddenly Kawaki appears and finishes off Hidari. Now from the remains of Hidari, a thorny fruit with a Renegon appears and Boruto grabs it. Boruto then proceeds to ask Kashinkoji to confirm about the fruit he holds. Kashinkoji then confirmed it and said it's just like what he saw, it's a thorn ball. Now just when Boruto had confirmation, Kawaki holds him or grabs onto his collar, of course because he loves doing that for some reason, and asks him for more explanation about it. Boruto then proceeds to explain that the thorn ball is crucial to saving Sasuke, and then asks Kawaki to lay his hand down or he'll break it. Kawaki then asks Boruto where he received this information when suddenly something hit Boruto in his chest. Everyone is surprised and searching for the attacker. It was Jura, and he commented that his attack missed Boruto's vital point. It then says that Delta is surprised that Jura can snipe them from this far distance. Then it shows that Jura is still in the location where he fought Himawari. It then indicates that Sarada is holding on to Boruto's body and then tries to grab Hidari's thorn ball, but she gets hit in the right hand by Jura. And by the way, he's using the same laser Biju bomb ability used on Himawari in the prior chapter, so it's nothing new per se as it relates to what we already saw like a chapter ago. It then says that the thorn ball flew towards Jura. He then grabbed it and notices that Boruto knew about Hidari's horn ball. He commented that Boruto has become much dangerous than he expected and decided to kill Boruto by making Kawaki his prey. Now, this kinda indicates that Jura is going to try to consume Kawaki at some point, and I'm not sure if it's gonna actually happen because based on what we saw in the timeskip preview, which kinda dictates what happens in the current timeline, Kawaki does survive this ordeal. Now it could be that Jura does succeed in consuming Kawaki and maybe Kawaki takes over Jura, somewhat similar to how Orochimaru tried to take over Sasuke's body but Sasuke kinda pulled the Uno reverse. Something like that might happen, but we'll have to wait and see. But it is very interesting that Jura feels like he needs to evolve by consuming Kawaki to defeat Boruto, because it kinda indicates that he's weaker than Boruto currently. So yeah, I don't know what to say about the power scaling. Maybe that is the case, or maybe Jura just knows something that we don't, you know, but we'll have to wait and see. But the logical assumption here is that Jura feels like Boruto is way too strong based on what he saw in the fight against Hidari for him to be able to defeat him. But of course we'll have to just wait and see what happens. My biggest complaint in this chapter is Sarada and the Sharingan. I'm not sure why she hasn't been using it. Of course we know that she used it in the prior chapter, but in this specific instance I'm not sure what the explanation is for why she hasn't used it in these scenarios. Maybe she's low on power, maybe she's low on stamina, who knows. She doesn't have an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, so she can't spam it like Sasuke did, but that more so applies to the strain of the Mangekyo on the body, not necessarily the 3 Tomoe or the 1 Tomoe Sharingan, you know. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we'll just have to wait and see. Well, that's it guys, let me know your thoughts on the chapter. Do you think it was a good one? Of course we're going to get the full chapter with the official translations on Friday, so of course I want you guys to wait on that too before you form your conclusions per se. But let me know your thoughts down below if you liked it. If not, let me know why. Drop a like on the video, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.